Welcome back to the NFL Recap Podcast. I'm Jackson.
I'm Colin.
And I'm Harper. Today we're diving into the 2024-2025 NFL season, breaking it down week by week. It was an incredible season filled with surprises and standout performances.
Let's kick things off with Week 1.
Week 1 was packed with excitement. The Kansas City Chiefs started out strong, defeating the Cleveland Browns 38-10. Patrick Mahomes looked sharp, throwing for 3 touchdowns.
Absolutely. And how about the rookie debut of Jaden Daniels with the Washington Commanders? He threw for over 300 yards against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but ultimately lost 30-27.
Can't forget about the upsets. The New England Patriots stunned the Cincinnati Bengals, winning 16-10. A major rough game for Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. That set the tone for an unpredictable season. Transitioning into Week 2.
Week 2 featured some serious drama. The Baltimore Ravens were upset by the Las Vegas Raiders with the last-minute field goal. Ravens lost 23-26.
And the New York Jets bounced back against the Tennessee Titans, winning 24-17. That victory for the Jets really shifted the narrative. The veteran quarterback Aaron Rodgers looked like his old self.
The injuries started piling up, too. Major players like Justin Jefferson and Cooper Kupp went down. Kupp's injuries had a huge implications for the Rams moving forward, setting them on a future 4-game losing streak.
In Week 3, the Miami Dolphins turned heads with a dominant 45-10 win over the Buffalo Bills. Tua Tagovailoa was on fire. Tyreek Hill finally had a good game, going for 7 receptions and 156 yards and a touchdown.
The Eagles remained undefeated, beating the Atlanta Falcons 27-23. Jalen Hurts showed why he's a top-tier quarterback. A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith both put up a touchdown, with Saquon Barkley also adding 150 yards on the ground and a touchdown of his own.
Not to mention the drama of the Dallas Cowboys versus the New York Giants. The Giants won barely, 17-14. Both teams looking terrible. Dak Prescott was holding on to the ball too long. CeeDee Lamb was getting frustrated with the Cowboys' offense. The Giants are struggling to even get any quarterback play.
Week 4 was an absolute dogfight. The matchup between the Chiefs and the Bengals was a thriller, with the Chiefs winning 26-28. Joe Burrow looked amazing, going for 300 yards and 3 touchdowns. Mahomes struggled barely, squeaking by.
That game was a statement. It came down to Joe Burrow leading a drive down the field, but ultimately turning it over on downs.
I think it should have been pass interference.
I disagree. The Chiefs won, and there was a ton of calls being missed all game.
Well, both teams look like Super Bowl contenders to me.
Speaking of contenders, the Detroit Lions continue to impress with a win over the Green Bay Packers, solidifying their spot in the NFC North. Jared Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, David Montgomery. The Lions have one of the best offenses in the league.
Can't forget about Dan Campbell. The coach turned the entire organization around from a 1-16 team to a Super Bowl contender team.
In Week 5, we had the first big trade of the season as the Jets traded a top-tier wide receiver, Davante Adams. That changed the dynamics for the AFC, pairing Adams back with Rodgers. Don't forget about the young star Garrett Wilson, too. The Jets now put together a tough receiver core.
Yes, and let's not forget about the Chicago Bears. They are looking terrible with one coach already being fired this year. You have to feel bad for Caleb.
The Ravens win back-to-back solid games against the Bills and Bengals, showing they were still a force to be reckoned with.
Week 6 brought some upsets again. The Ravens upset the Washington Commanders 30-27, giving them a strong grip on the AFC East. Don't take this lightly, though. Jaden Daniels is no joke, turning around a bottom 5 team into a winning team, competing for the division win with the Eagles.
And the Bengals finally found their groove, beating the Seahawks 35-17. Joe Burrow finally looked like his old self again.
It was also the week of the comeback. The Chargers managed to beat the Broncos 28-27 after trailing for most of the game. Ladd McConkey was a steal from the draft, going for 120 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Week 7 had everyone talking about the Lions versus Viking game. The Lions won 40-10, and Dan Campbell's offense was unstoppable, beating the 6-0 Vikings, giving them their first loss of the season.
Right, and the Texans shocked the world by defeating the Packers, which had playoff implications for both teams. Jordan Love looked promising after being back from his Week 2 injury. C.J. Stroud looked like he broke out of his sophomore slump.
The season was shaping up nicely, with surprising teams like the Broncos making a run for the playoffs.
In Week 8, the Miami Dolphins faced a tough test against the Eagles, but fell short 24-20 in a close game.
Meanwhile, the Ravens continued their winning streak, defeating the Rams 31-17. They really look like a complete team.
The Eagles, on the other hand, suffered a setback against the Buccaneers, losing 28-21. The NFC was heating up. Baker Mayfield threw for over 400 passing yards, his 4th straight game above 300.
Week 9 was a turning point. The Chiefs had a tough matchup against the Bills and lost 27-24. That shook up the playoff picture for sure.
The 49ers bounced back as well, defeating the Seahawks, showing them they were still in the race for the NFC West.
And how about them Panthers? They had a surprising win against the Packers, which was a huge moral boost for the team. Bryce Young looking phenomenal and happy. They have been a fun team to watch the past couple weeks.
Bengals fall back under 500 with a loss to the Steelers. Jamar Chase stuffed the stat sheet with a dominant performance, including 15 receptions, 267 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
The 7-2 Eagles dominated the Cowboys with a 42-6 win. Saquon Barkley went for 230 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns, while Jalen Hurts ran for 2 himself.
Vikings win again, beating the Bears, who have now lost 5 straight. Caleb Williams is begging for some help as he is put on his back every other down. Sam Darnold threw for 250 yards and 5 touchdowns, with Justin Jefferson catching 3 of them and Jordan Addison taking in the other 2.
Weeks 10 to 17 overview. As we move into the later weeks, the competition intensified. The playoff picture began to solidify, with the Bills, Chiefs, and Ravens emerging as top contenders.
The Lions also maintained their lead in the NFC North, while the Eagles continue to dominate the NFC East.
The final week saw teams fighting for the wild card spots. The AFC was a battle between the Chargers, Bengals, and Broncos, while the NFC had the Packers and the Commanders making late pushes.
And let's not forget about the individual performances. Players like Tyreek Hill, who broke records, and defensive stars like Micah Parsons making game-winning plays.
What a season it's been. It's clear there are exciting storylines heading into the playoffs for sure.
We'll be back next week to dive deeper into the playoff matchups and predictions for the Super Bowl.
Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next week.